everyone. Thanks for joining Game Trade Media at Alliance Open House. I'm Gretchen, and I'm here with Spencer from IDW Games.
That's right. That's me.
So, Spencer, what do you have with this setup? Because it's super cute, and I need to know.
Okay, so this is Seikatsu Pet's Life. Seikatsu is a game we put out about 2.5, 3 years ago at this point. Mm-hmm. The original theming was kind of a Zen garden, and the idea was that there was different types of birds that had different colors, mm-hmm. and they were sitting on different types of flowers that had different colors. And we got a really great response from people who said that the game was a good weight for being like family friendly. Mm-hmm. The kids liked it, that the matching of the birds, and there's kind of two scoring mechanisms in the game that made the game kind of have an interesting twist, and people really liked that. But we got some complaints that like from a distance, the reading of the birds and the reading of the flowers' colors, which is really the way that you score, mm-hmm. People felt like it was a little too small on the tiles, and that the theming also was maybe a bit more, I don't know how to say this besides like gamery. Like it was a cool theme, but it was also a theme that worked for like the gaming hobby market, but not maybe as friendly to a mass market as a game of its weight could be. Mm-hmm. So we kind of took those critiques and criticisms and thought about stuff for a while, and we decided that we were going to kind of relaunch the brand with this very family-friendly version of the game that has all new art. And so instead of it being birds and flowers, it is now different types of pets mm-hmm. on big comfy pillows laying around a living room.
So cute.
Yeah. And so we thought that, this is a bit more of a proper like art style for a game that can be played with families. Mm-hmm. And then using that art style, we also kind of rebuilt the game to be much more visually easy to recognize stuff. So the pet types are bigger on the tiles, and actually this is not final. This is a pre-production copy, so there's a couple of things that are different that will be different in the final version. Some of the art is going to change on the pets so that the color patterns are a little bit different, so that the dogs and the cats aren't the similar colors. Mm-hmm. Also, the pets are going to be a little bit larger on the tokens because they're not quite to the full size they will be. And then there'll be kind of some final polish because these are actually like laser printed on right now. In the final version, they'll be sealed, so they'll look a little bit cleaner and not be as matte. They'll have a nice glossier look to them. But what this did for us is this allowed it to make it very easy from a distance for you to tell like what type of pet is on the tile. As you can see, they're big icons. They're big pieces of art on the tiles. And then you can see the color of the pillow they are sitting on. Mm-hmm. Because the way the game works is when players play a pet tile, they'll play it into a zone, and you can see the zones here are these kind of like marks on the floor where the tile will fit into. And then the adjacent pets that they've played next to are going to score. So in this case, if this player plays this cat here, they're going to score 3 points for having 3 cats together. They don't score for this cat because it's not adjacent to the tile that they mm-hmm. played. However, if somebody played a cat here, it would be 4 points because it would be these 3 cats are adjacent to this one, right? Mm-hmm. So we have some. You can see here we've already bundled up these couple of dogs have been scored, and these turtles have been scored. So as you play the game and you kind of build out the matrix of the board, you're playing to generate scores and points per tile placement as you're playing. But as you start to fill out the board, you start to see these color patterns emerge based on your perspective, and this is where kind of the twist ending of the game kicks in. There are 3 color sections on the board. You can see here there's a green one, mm-hmm. a blue one, and a red one. And these are the 3 player sections. And each section has a type of wallpaper that's kind of patterned. So there's red stars, green leaves, and blue fleur-de-lis. I think that's how that's said.
Good enough. Good enough.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
from Louisiana. I'll give you a pass.
Thanks.
Fine. Appreciate
it. So you can see that the players who have owned those sections have a matching meeple. So again, if the red player had played this cat here and had 3 adjacent cats, they would have scored 4 points. So they'd mark it up onto this 4th picture over here on the wall to track their points around. So once we've started to kind of see where this matrix has been built out and we have our player sections, players look from their perspective of their section. So if we were playing as the red player, we'd be looking at the board in this direction. And as we start to fill out, we'll actually score at the end of the game based on the number of pillows we have that are matching in a column. So for the red player, the columns are this direction. Pretty easy, straight down the line from this side of the board. But green is actually going to be this direction, and then blue is going to be this direction. And so what we do on a normal turn, and we can go ahead and do that, is why don't you reach in there and grab 2 tokens out at random. Don't cheat. Yeah. I saw you peeking. So.
All right. What do I have?
You definitely
Ooh.
cheated. All right. So you have
I am a mystical being.
Yeah, you
and
have 2
the
unicorns.
tokens knew that.
Yeah. So unicorns are wilds. And actually, it's cool that it's almost as if we staged this because it was the one thing we hadn't talked about yet. So the way a unicorn works is you can place a unicorn. When you play a tile, you have to play it adjacent to an existing tile. Unicorn, you can play anywhere and count it as any type of pet for that one turn. So if you wanted to play the unicorn here, you could play it here and say, oh, I'm going to treat it like a dog, and I'm going to get 3 points. You could play it next to this turtle and get 2. Really, at this point in time, playing it next to either one of these sets of these dogs or these cats is going to be one of the best choices you can make.
All right, so I place them down here.
So, yep, and then we're just going to assume that you're the red player. I don't know why you would be the red player. Something about you just screams red to me. So you're going to be the red player, and we would say, okay, that's going to be 3 points. So we'll jump that up to 8 points right there for you. Now, for the rest of the game, the unicorn is now, as a pet, is nothing. It is a null. So, like, even if I go, and actually, why don't you pass me the bag? You keep that token. That's yours.
All right. I've always wanted a pet unicorn.
Well, you have 2. Now you have too many. All right. So I am going to, I've pulled out these 2 cats. Now, had I pulled out a dog and wanted to place a dog here, even though you had treated this unicorn as a dog, I wouldn't get to do that. It doesn't work that way. Once it's played, it's scored only as that pet for that moment. So what I'll do is I'll take this cat, and let's say I am the blue player. I will play this. This is tough for me. I have to see. I'll play this green cat right here. This cat on a green pillar right here, and that's going to give me 3 points. So I would jump up to 3 points here. So the reason why I've done that is because at the end of the game, from my perspective, I'm building more greens in this column because my perspective is going in this direction. But and this is where the unicorns come in. When a player plays a unicorn, it counts as any pet that they choose, and then it counts as no pet for anybody else. But at the end of the game, every player gets to use the unicorn as a color pillow of their choice. So by you playing that there, you have scored you scored for 3 points for 3 dogs. But at the end of the game, because I've played another green pillow here, I'm going to get to treat this as if there's 3 green pillows in this line of pets. So when you would take the bag back,
all right,
and you'd pull out 1 token this time. We kind of acted as if it was the start of the game when you pulled out 2, even though they had preceded the board.
It's a bunny this time.
So now you get to choose between those 2, either play another unicorn or play the bunny somewhere.
All right, there's
that's a great choice.
That's
a great choice for a couple of reasons, because you're going to get 3 points for putting it next to those. So we'll just push you up there to 11. But also, you've already started building out, from your perspective, this column has 2 pinks already in it.
Yep.
Now, you could have put the bunny here, and I had 3 pinks in this column, and you would only have 1 point. So this is the push and pull of the game is, am I getting points now, or am I building towards a late game score when we do the final scoring? So what we can... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's cool because you can have that kind of at the very end thinking that someone, like you're in the clear, and then out of nowhere you notice someone has all of these lines like just ready to go, just swooping in.
And that's part of the beauty of the game is realizing that like there's a really interesting play you could play like from one perspective, and you go, oh, I can play this here, and that's good for me, but not realizing you've built out a very strong line of pillows for the other player at the end of the game. So that's kind of the thing that makes the game a really fun family weight game, is that if you want to play with younger kids who like the art and the cute pets, there's a very simple family style play where you're just always making the choice that's best for you, and you're not worrying about the other person's perspective. And then you just kind of have that moment at the end where, okay, let's count up and see what everybody's scored. But, or I should say, you can also have players who are, if the family is a bit more adept, or you're playing with people who are a bit more gamery, right? Used to heavier weight games, they can be a bit more strategic about where they're placing something and saying like, I don't want to actually place this here. Even though this is good for me right now, I can see that this is going to put another blue or another green pillow into a strong line of pillows for you, right? So it has a little bit of that secret weight where you can be a bit more strategic about where you're placing, but you can also deny by playing something into a person's like final spot on their column and saying like, oh, you have a green in your hand. I could play here and block that green so that you don't have 4 greens in a row. Because the pillows, unlike the pets that score based on 1-to-1 based on groups, pillows are on a ramping scale. I forgot to mention this earlier. They're on a ramping scale. So 1 is 1, but 2 is 3, and 3 is 6, and 4 is 10. So the pillows actually score more than the pets will by the end of the game.
Awesome. So how would one go about winning?
So let's go ahead and just kind of fill out the board as if the players had played, and then we'll do a final calculation. So now that we've filled out the matrix and we've kind of seen the entire board, we haven't really been using the third player, so we're just talking about as if there was 2. So we would say it would be the red player from this perspective and the blue player from this perspective. So we would actually go through column by column and figure out your points. So in this case, we'd start in this column for you, and we would say you have 3 blues. And they don't actually have to be touching when we do this final scoring. They can be in any organization. It's just how many in that column do you have. So in this case, 3 would be 6 points. So we jump you up 6 points to 17 here. And then in this case, you've got these 2 unicorns. So you can actually choose. And since you've got one of 3 other colors in there, you're really just going to pick one of those colors. So blue or green, doesn't really matter.
I feel like blue would be the best choice because you have the blue already here. So that could be 3 different blue.
Yeah, and again, they don't, with the pillows, they don't have to touch to do that scoring. But if you want to imagine, you're right, 3 blues in a row would look the prettiest. So we'll do another 3. That would be another 6 points. So you'll go up to 23 for that. And then we'll do this column. So we see here you've got a green, a yellow, a pink, a blue. So your 2 pinks are your only combination there, really. So 2 is actually worth 3 points. So you're going to be 26. And then here you've had a really strong run where you didn't get denied by somebody or we didn't realize what you were doing. And so you've got 5 actual yellows in this row. And for 5s, and this is where I have to check, it is 15 points. So you're going to jump up from that to 41 points, which puts you almost all the way around the board, which must feel good. And then you're going to have 3 pinks here. So again, 3 is worth 6 points. That's going to put you at 47. And then we're going to have here you've got the 2 unicorns that you can count, which would be probably 3 yellows.
Yeah, sure, 3 yellows.
Yeah, and so that's going to put you in another 6 points. So when that happens, we just wrap around the board because at the end of the day, it actually doesn't really matter. As once everybody's gone, you're going to be who's farthest along on the board. Most people most players in a 2 to 3 player game will actually lap the board, so everyone will have gone past 0 already. So we'll put you back over here at 3 next to me, which is all I scored during the game. And then your final one, you have 2 greens. Well, 2 is worth 3 points, so that would put you at 6 total. And then we would score me, and so we had done yours from this perspective. And for mine, my pattern is this direction. So for this, I've got 2 blues, so that's going to be worth 3 points, so I'll be there for 6. And then here I've got this unicorn that I can use, and there's 3 yellows here when I do that, or actually, 3 yellows or 3 blues. So that'll be another 6 points that will go from 6 to 12. Here I've got a pretty good strong run of pinks, which is worth 10, which is easy enough. That jumps me up to 22. And then I've got 4, so that's going to put me at 32, because that's another 10 points for those greens. Here we've got 3 yellows is my best out of here, so that's going to be 6 points. So that's going to put me at 38. Here I've got 1 unicorn. You can see where the power of the unicorns have come into play. The power of the unicorns.
I know, that's a good phrase.
Yeah. So this case, I didn't have as many columns that had multiple unicorns in it, and so I had less flexibility with like using those wild cards effectively. So in this case, my best choice is just to pick one of the 4 colors I have in this row because I'm only going to get 2. So I'm just going to get to say, all right, well, it's one of those, so I'm just going to add 3 points. That's going to put me at 41. And then finally, same deal here. I don't have any matching colors, so I'm just going to pick up, let's say, the pink, and that's going to be the same thing where it's going to be 3, so I'm going to end up at 44. Now, these numbers are a little off because we actually didn't play the game where we were matching and turning. I definitely would have done better normally.
I don't know. My connection with the unicorn was strong.
I would say it was extremely strong. But you can see how the game's kind of interesting because of the perspective of building out these columns and also the kind of nature of like how the game, I like to say the game changes halfway through. At the very beginning, the only real choice you have is to start matching pets with pets because it's the only thing you can do that generates points. But then once you start seeing where the colors are laying for your perspective, then you can start ignoring whether like you can decide to ignore combining pets if you just want to look at what the in-game scoring is going to do for you.
Awesome. So where would when is this game coming out?
So it's we're just now entering production, so it's probably going to be out around, I would guess, mid to late November. So perfect in time for Christmas. And it's going to be $30.
Awesome. Yep. So is there anywhere else we can go to get information online?
Yeah, so we do most of our stuff through just our Facebook group now. So IDW Games on Facebook is where we show when things are coming out, promote whatever games we're currently pushing out. And then also, the distributors that we work through, they will all usually have information up on their sites.
Awesome. So thank you so much for coming out.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you so much for showing me this game and the power of the unicorn.
So powerful, the unicorns.
And we'll see you at your friendly local game store.